everybody. I am Scotty J. Welcome back to Rock Titan Live, and we have got an insane show for you today. I'm really excited. Um, Love the band that this guy used to sing for. But the thing that we're really going to be focused on today is this new debut album that he's got coming out September 25th called Hollywood Y Sycamore. It's awesome. It represents a totally different side to the vocals that this man has. He's lovingly known as the godfather of Latin heavy metal. Ladies and gentlemen, Cristian Machado. Cristian, how are you, sir?
I am doing good, man. Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure being on with you, brother.
Thank you, man. It is awesome having you on Rock Titan Live. And obviously, we talked a little bit off the air, getting acquainted with one another, just talking about what you have going on. But man, everyone knows you from Ill Nino. Everyone knows you from Ill Nino. Of course, you had a long run with those guys, and everything that you put out was absolutely gold. Now you've got this new solo effort, this debut effort called Hollywood is Sycamore, and it is a different side of you, man.
Absolutely different side. It might surprise a lot of people, that is for sure.
What inspired it, man? I mean, what made you go in such a different direction? You're a musician, you're an artist, but what made you say, you know what, the first thing I do as a solo artist is going to be something that just totally blows everyone's mind?
Um, well, it's something that I've always loved. Acoustic music is something that I've always been attracted to in one way or another, um, it's acoustic cover songs that I always wind up listening to. Some of my favorite songs, I'll wind up searching for cover versions of those songs, like on a piano or an acoustic guitar, just because as a musician, I think I'm attracted to different approaches. I'm guessing that's what it is, probably. But personally, the thing that drove me to it is I guess I've never been one to get too, I've never liked getting too comfortable, especially with music. I've always loved doing different things and learning different things. I think is the thing that keeps me going mostly.
I respect
Is
that.
having new challenges presented in front of me and trying to achieve them however possible. Musically, that is what has kept me going. I know that some artists love to just kind of stay in their niche and it works for them and they don't ever have to stray outside of that. But for me, I'm just curious, man. I'm musically curious as can be. I listen to all kinds of music. I I I mean, in my old band, we did a lot of different types of metal in there. We experimented with a lot of different sounds and I've always wanted to do something completely stripped down that really is simply about the song, that comes more from the songwriter element of what I do. I was a songwriter in El Nino for many, many years. I mean, when the band was founded, it was only a very small group of us that was doing the musical writing, and I had a big part in that. And I've always felt like, what would it be like to write different kinds of music? I mean, I've written hip hop beats. I've written, about 30 songs for ESPN and Disney. I mean, from a songwriter point of view, I've always liked doing different things. I've never wanted to feel like, oh, this is it. This is all that I could do. And anybody that has ever said to me like, hey man, you shouldn't try anything too different because your fans won't like it because they're too used to you doing this. My reaction to that is usually like, oh, fuck that.
Hold my beer. You're like, hold my beer,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
That's the classic.
My reaction is usually like, fuck that. No, it's just music. You do it all. And
Yeah.
I mean, I've even like sang on some projects that were close to being a death metal thing. And it depends I guess how I'm feeling that year. This year just felt like a totally acoustic year, and I was blessed to have the opportunity to make something like this. Not many artists get to walk away from something that they were so embedded in for so long, and then just have the opportunity to make something completely different. And so far the fans have been really welcoming to it, and I'm completely blessed. They could have all been like, what is this?
All right, Christian. Well, you know what? That is a perfect segue into what I want to talk about with you next. I was going to go in a different direction, but this is perfect. I mean, you actually brought up an awesome topic because, of course, the first solo you have off this album, Hollywood Y Sycamore, everybody, due out September 25th. And I got to tell you, I feel spoiled rotten. I feel spoiled rotten because I've already had the opportunity to listen to the entire album, and oh God, guys, you're gonna love this. But Die Alone, Die Alone, that's the single that's already been out there that everyone has had the opportunity to digest, and it has been received, I would say, extremely well. You've got to be happy with that. Now that being said, because you're coming from a band like Ill Nino where you had so much commercial success, now here you are embarking on a solo career, which many musicians have done, and done so successfully. But for Cristian Machado personally, did you have any reservations or anxiety about the idea of going solo with your own namesake, having had so much commercial success already?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was um suspenseful is probably a very soft word to use. Scary as shit, it's probably the best way to explain it. I did, and I still do. I mean, the rock world is one thing, but I've somehow have taken myself out of the rock world and placed myself in this much broader pool of people who are pop artists do this kind of stuff, people who are singer songwriters do this, vocalists in rock bands do this. So it was pretty scary to wonder what would happen. I've never been one to let fear kind of control what it is that I do, and all that I in my mind, as long as the songs were really great, I thought people will hear what the songs are. I realize that it's not for everyone. Not everyone likes to listen to acoustic music. There are some people that like rock sounding stuff all the time. They don't like their music sounding soft, and obviously this is not for them. I've made this album realizing and accepting that this is not an album for everyone. I and in making it, I've also realized I placed myself in a much bigger pool of other amazing artists that also do this, and to stick out is probably the most complicated thing that will ever have to occur in my career. But I'm a believer in the great statement of even 1,000 mile journey begins with one step, and this is the one step. Die Alone was the first song. It's the simplest song on the album.
It's very deep.
um yeah, which but you could argue that, like, the Life of Agony Weeds cover is the simplest song on the album, but you know um this one is just as stripped down as could be. The other stuff has a little bit more on it, and I think people will be a little bit more attracted to it. But it's a great way of opening the door and showing this is me. This is me playing the guitar. Nobody else recorded the song. It was only me, and there was no other songwriter. It was just me. And the bulk of the album is like that. But obviously, it wouldn't be what it is without the musicians that were on it, the people that really had amazing chemistry with me. Like the guitar players that I worked with were amazing, and the musicians that tracked on it, the bass player, the violin player. I mean, they were so talented that it made me look inward and go, even within this very simple niche, where the songs are not that complicated, the musicianship still has to be next level. It's
Right.
not like
Oh.
just because you go from playing metal to playing, songs that only have two riffs in it, that you have to become less a musician. If anything, you have to become more a musician because more of the emphasis and more of the attention is on really just very few elements. So for me, it was a huge learning experience, man. I'm still trying to learn from it. Let's just say that, you know.
Right on, right on. But I love how you talked about the desire to really diversify yourself because you did. I mean, with this debut solo effort, you really did stretch yourself out, and show everyone, all of your fans, and even people that maybe hadn't been fans of your previous work, this is something that they could really embrace. I mean, this is a totally different side of you, and you did it so well. You talk about the different musicians that you worked with on this. How'd you assemble this entourage that worked with you on this debut effort? Obviously, this is something you had to put a lot of thought into, with it being your first debut album. Where'd these guys come from?
Well, two of the two guitar players that I worked very closely with, Conrado Pecinato and Stephen Brewer, are from the LA scene. They're Conrado I met about 3-4 years ago, I believe, and we began jamming together, just playing acoustic guitar together little by little. Before I was approached by Chesky Records to do a stripped down kind of album, I had already been jamming with Conrado and kind of been humoring the idea of doing something not as built on instrumentation, but just kind of stripped down and more focused on song. And with Steven and Conrado, we pretty much took the because the record was going to be recorded live, we had to pretty much just realize we have to put the work into this. And as amazing guitar players as they are, on electric guitars, they wound up realizing how challenging the acoustic guitar is, and which is actually even more challenging to play acoustic guitar than it is to play electric guitar, depending what you do, obviously.
Sure.
I wasn't playing any leads, so I was doing strumming and plucking, stuff like that, which is easy.
Okay.
But they were doing some like leads that are on some of the other songs and stuff, and they definitely were like, I thought this was gonna be easy, because it's just chords and stuff and all of that. But they definitely, we all have a newfound respect for the acoustic guitar.
There's something about Nylon Strings, man. I love the classic acoustic guitar. Like you said, it's a different sound. It's a different art.
It is a different art. It is a different art, and you have to really be focused on every single note, and you could hear every mistake. I mean, it's like next level musicianship that you really have to try to attempt, and you just kind of throw things and be like, all right, let's do another take. Let's see where it gets us. But the album was mostly recorded live.
Wow.
So for me, it was, extremely challenging. It was something that we kind of did in the beginning where we recorded some of the music live and then overdubbed some things in Ill Nino when we recorded the first album. But this was fully live, just with it was two mics left and right. And then I had my own mic and my own guitar was going through as its own instrument. But it was something that we thought was going to be simple, just write some songs, go in, perform them, we're done, was probably one of the most challenging things I've ever done musically. It's very challenging to go into the studio with a set of musicians, whether it's 3 or 5. In our case, it was 5 of us, and say, okay, we're going to do 3 takes, and one of them has to be perfect, and we all have to be as close to perfect as we can be on that take together.
Right on.
So it's not just challenging, but I guess the chemistry really is what allows you to do it. When I saw these musicians being so focused, so in the moment, I mean, literally eyes closed and like feeling every note with their hands, not their eyes. Right. Where when you perform, you usually are looking and making sure, but this was such a different animal that it taught me a lot, man. It was one of the greatest challenges I've ever had as a musician. The songs were felt natural to write. I wasn't necessarily trying to reinvent anything. I really was just trying to tell some stories that are deep and personal, and I wanted to cover some songs in a different way. Some songs that I think influenced me as an artist, like "Welcome to the Machine," an
All
artist like
right, we're gonna go there. We're gonna go there. I'm not ready yet, Christian. I'm not ready to talk about that yet. But we are
right
definitely
on.
going to talk about a mutual passion. But no, that's awesome. That's so cool. This is like your Purple Rain, man. You know, because like Purple Rain was recorded live. You know, I don't know if a lot of people necessarily know that, but it was recorded live. That just happened
Yeah,
to
yeah,
become one of the biggest albums in the history of the human race. You know, and it's so cool. It's so cool that you took that approach with this, and I love it. So,
I wouldn't have done that had the label not said, "Hey, this is how we like to work. We like to work with a more organic element." And Chesky Records releases a lot of music by amazing jazz artists who don't need to, multi-track an album. they
right
they
on.
don't need to multi-track an album, not because they don't have the money to, but because they're just so amazing. They go in and nail it.
That's
But
awesome.
they suggested to try this, and I felt like, okay, it's a challenge. Yeah, I'll do it. Let's try it. Let's see how it goes.
Right on. Now, as far as going solo, and I don't want to focus a whole lot on this, but I figure I gotta ask you because I am curious. Is this something that you wanted to do, or did you have like any friends, family members, or anything like that kind of nudging you a little bit? You know, Christian, like forget about trying to start like another band or join another band or anything like that. You should just go solo, man. Like, did anyone encourage you to do this, or was this really your own conscious decision?
Definitely Jeff Lanier at Chesky Records was one of the most encouraging factors in me doing this. Also, Conrado Pecinato, the guitar player who played on the album. Um, if it wasn't for them two, and maybe my friend Adasi, who's a close friend of mine here in Orange County, who was always like, "Hey, man, you try acoustic things, do different things. You could do anything you want, Christian. Why don't you just try different things?" I remember him telling me that a lot of 3-4 years ago, something like that. Um, Without a doubt, if it wasn't for them encouraging me and at least making me feel like, okay, maybe this isn't as foreign. Don't be fearful of trying new things. And I've never really been a person that's fearful of trying new things, but with everything that had occurred the last couple of years, it was definitely nerve-wracking whether I should or shouldn't. And it was those, Jeff and Conrado and Adasi that helped me realize, don't think about it too much. Just, this is music, you know.
Right on, man.
This is music, and it's supposed to say something that comes from your feelings. And perhaps I got to write about those fears a little bit, instead of like sinking into them.
Right on, man. Right on. Well, I'll tell you what, Christian. You've got the voice, clearly. I mean, to me, what you proved is there's nothing you can't do vocally. I mean, literally. You make Spanish and metal and rock and roll sound really good. I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what you're singing because I don't speak Spanish. But it sounds really good when you do it. I will say that.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Seriously. But so let's get into the album a little bit. And again, we're talking about Hollywood Y Sycamore and Hollywood and Sycamore. So that's that's an intersection. Out in
Yeah,
your
it's a
neck of the
cross
woods in
street in
California.
Hollywood.
Yeah. So does that have some special meaning to you?
Yeah, it's pretty much the cross streets where we rehearsed for the entire recording of the album. Conrado lives on the corner of Hollywood and Sycamore, and Steve lived like a block away from there. And I had spent so much time there last summer, practicing, going there literally every week, couple times a week, going for rehearsals that, um, you know, when Conrado, it was actually Conrado who suggested, when I was looking for a title, and I was looking for like complicated titles, like the metalhead in my mind was driving me nuts. Like, oh, what's this title? It's got to say something. And what's it gonna be? Is it gotta be like a long word or just like the coolest short word you've ever heard? And then Conrado was like, we were talking about albums that had street names. And then he said, Hollywood Sycamore, that's a pretty cool cross street. And
That's
I was like,
awesome.
dude, you're absolutely right. That's what the record needs to be called.
That's awesome,
After
man.
like 2 weeks of like, it's got to be the coolest thing. What's it got to be? Just like that. It was like, yeah, it doesn't have to be anything. It really, if anything, this cross street right here encompasses the feeling of everything that had to be put into making the album.
That's awesome, man. That works. That works. Well, everybody, again, we're here with Cristian Machado, and we're talking about his debut album due out September 25th. And man, it's killer. Now, we don't have time to break down every single track, and you'd be bored with that anyway. But one thing that we have in common is that we are die-hard Pink Floyd fans. I love Pink Floyd. They're like my pantheon. And clearly they must be for you too. Man, you did a track on
Absolutely.
here. Everybody, I swear, it's awesome. Welcome to the Machine. Oh my God. What made you want to do that song? Other than being a Pink Floyd fan, what made you choose that song to put on your debut album?
Well, it's definitely, I think it's one of the most epic Pink Floyd songs ever. Pink Floyd was a band, but in making that song, I think they jumped forward in music decades, I mean, electronic music wasn't even being made yet, and here were these guys pretty much basing an entire song off this circulating synth, and it's one of the most, maybe it's, maybe the right word wouldn't be one of the greatest Pink Floyd songs. It is one of the most creative Pink Floyd songs ever, I think. And I've always had some kind of attraction towards it. I don't know, that maybe the way the world has been lately drew me more towards it. And it surely has been feeling like we live in a circulating pattern in which it is extremely complicated to pause or stop it or even nudge it or even adjust what it is that we live in. So to me, that song just explained a lot, without having to say many things. I mean, if you think about how we live in society today, it is pretty much like a functioning machine. And the thing that we all sometimes forget, or not forget, I mean, a lot of people realize it daily because they themselves have to suffer, but life is full of suffering,
Mm.
and a lot of people, man, are going through some crazy shit nowadays. And that
It,
song just seemed to be so ahead of its time.
yeah,
It
yeah.
explained so much so early on, and it challenged music in such a drastic way that to me it was like, oh, let me see what I could make of it. I mean, I'm an engineer, so I understand synths and stuff like that, and I said, let me try to recreate some of this. I mean, it was a trip more than anything else, having to like find jail cell doors closing, and screams and helicopters and things like that. Like,
Yeah, I love that. I loved how you incorporated in some of the like original sound effects from the song, that Pink Floyd had put on there. And I mean, like you
I
said,
had to, or else, what kind of justice would I have done it if I didn't at least try to keep it as cool as they did it?
well, I'm going to say right now publicly what I told you before we really got started here, man. Your album's awesome. I love this album, literally, truly. I'm not just blowing smoke because I'm talking to you right now.
Thank
Top to
you.
bottom, man, awesome, awesome work. You just have an awesome voice. But that being said, I think that cover song by Pink Floyd is going to be one of the biggest songs, certainly of 2020. 2020 one. I mean, who knows how I don't understand how things get categorized. Oh, this was 2020, this was 2021, and this was when we're giving out awards, you know? But, I immediately think of like, Bad Wolves. We had Tommy Vex on not too long ago. And of course, Bad Wolves exploded onto the scenes with Cranberry Zombie. That was really big. But then I was telling you, Dave Draymond, he, from Disturbed, did Sound of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel. And that was just such an epic, way to just reorchestrate that song, to remaster it, whatever the music technical terms are that I'm just ignorant to. But I just talked about two huge covers by two huge bands right now. What you did with this Pink Floyd Welcome to the Machine, oh my God, dude, I'm just telling you right now, everybody, it's insane. It's so good. That alone is worth going out and buying all of Hollywood Y Sycamore. So
Thank you, brother.
go out and get it. No, I'm serious, man. I'm just saying. I loved it as a Pink Floyd fan, and it's just as someone who really thoroughly appreciates and enjoys your voice. Wow. I mean, you just really put an awesome flavor. I mean, it was your flavor, your style. That you put on it. While, to your point, you gave homage to kind of the original arrangement, if you will, while kind of making it your own. I thought that was really freaking cool, man. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
man.
mean, if I had it my way, I'd do an entire album of Pink Floyd covers, man. But that's probably been done. That probably wouldn't be too original, you know?
Well, I'll tell you what, man. Okay, I'll put you on the spot. I'm going to put you on the spot as a Pink Floyd fan. Okay? But Roger Waters, David Gilmour. If you had the opportunity to only play with one of them, you only get to pick one of them. Who do you play with? Waters or Gilmour?
Fuck, man. That's even harder than having to pick David Lee Roth or Sammy Hagar.
Right? I know, man. They're different.
Um,
They're different. They're different.
Man, I don't know.
I know. I put you on the spot, man. I am sorry, Christian. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that to you, but I
I
couldn't
mean,
help myself.
I probably have to, because I'm so enamored with his voice and how much his voice changed the sound of Floyd. I'd probably pick Gilmour.
Me too, dude. Me too, man. A
Because
momentary lapse of reason.
his
Oh
voice
my
on his
God.
voice on some of the songs just
Yeah.
really took you there, you know.
Yeah.
And
Well,
not I mean, Roger Waters took you there. He was the one writing that shit.
sure.
But I think that them together, and definitely Gilmour coming in and offering his bluesier approach to things, I guess is what it was.
Is different. I personally, I think the Division Bell is one of the most, unsell. It doesn't get the respect it deserves. Like as far as the entire Pink Floyd collection, I think the
Mhm.
Division Bell just kind of goes unacknowledged. And to me, it's one of my favorite albums. I think it's terrible, but it is what it is. But I love where you're at, and I can sense that. I can sense that about you. I think it's the guitarist in you, man. The fact that you play guitar.
Probably,
I mean, I think
probably.
it's just a little bit of that. Oh man, there's not enough time in the
Have you
day.
ever seen the Pink Floyd in Greece? They had like they performed in Greece at like some it wasn't an arena. It was an old Greek, I guess.
Like an amphitheater?
Yeah, but it was for maybe 1,000 years old, and they performed there,
Okay,
and they had actually filmed it. It's on YouTube. But
I'll have to go check
in
that out.
that performance, somewhere about like 30 minutes in, Roger Waters, I swear to God, it was the first scream of that kind I have ever heard in music.
Wow.
So I think he might have been like the originator of screaming in music, because what he did on that one performance, you if you have the time and you could look it up, but it was, I forgot what it was called.
Yeah, no, I'll have to look it up. I will definitely check that out. But, dude, oh my God. There's not enough time in a day, Christian. I could talk to you all dang day. But, man, obviously, you got to get going here. We've already gone over the time that I know that you said you had available. But I'm just like that, man. I ramble, I babble. Everybody, I'm sorry. You're familiar with Scotty J on Rock Titan Live by now. You know I ramble on. But it is what it is. It's always a good time. We always have great guests like Christian here. And, again, the podcast that it is. If you all enjoy this, please go out, subscribe. All right. YouTube.com/Rock Titan. That's it. And then we got rocktitan.tv, not .com, not .org, .tv, the website. And I'm going to have a full review of Christian's new debut album out here where you get to see, some of his songs. You get to hear a little bit of the making of it and stuff like that. We're going to have some good things out there. But one thing I do want to touch on before I let you get going here, man, because it just seems that now you've embarked on this solo career and you really have opened yourself up as an artist, artistically, doing things in a different way than you've ever done them before. I'm interested in collaborations. Different kinds of collaborations that you may do. Now, I know way back in the day, and, maybe it's not ironic necessarily, but because obviously Mark Rizzo was in your band Ill Nino, in the early days when you were with him and whatnot. And then, of course, he goes on to join Soulfly, and then you actually make a guest appearance on Soulfly's third album with Max Cavalera, which was really awesome. But getting away from the metal side of things, now that we've seen and heard a different side of you, man, I think something with you and like Carlos Santana would be freaking epic, dude. What are the
That would
odds?
be badass. Man, the odds would be I would need so much money to get that guy interested. Or, he has heard of stuff we've done in El Nino before. Maybe if he hears of what I'm doing now,
That's what I'm talking about.
maybe I can convince him somehow.
We need to get him Hollywood Y Sycamore so that way when you have your sophomore solo album, oh, dude,
He's already on board for a solo. Need him for a solo.
I'm telling you right now, you and Santana would be, it would be epic, man. Oh my God. So, music gods, please make this happen because,
Listen to this guy, please.
that would,
Stop fucking around.
that would be amazing. All right. So we're in this quarantine. You're out there in California, right in the heart of where a lot of crazy crap is going down right now. Obviously, you've already finished this album. Now we're just playing the waiting game,
Yeah, man. And what an interesting waiting game it is. The music industry has been hit so hard with all this crazy stuff, dude.
So what are you doing? What are you going to do between now and release day?
I was supposed to be going on tour next month, but everything's pushed back to 2021. Nobody's doing anything,
Yeah, I know.
Um, man, I don't know. I think I'm just gonna keep doing singles.
More
I'll
writing?
keep shooting videos.
Yeah.
I just put out the video for Die Alone. I'm gonna shoot a video for Better You Know.
Ooh.
Eventually shoot a video for Welcome to the Machine, little by little, and just keep putting out content.
You just gave me spoilers, man. Are you supposed to do that? I don't know, man. Some guys are real hush hush, man. You just opened it up. I'll give you a chance to rethink that. And maybe I'll go back and take that out so everybody can't see it. Is that public knowledge? Can we share that with people?
No, absolutely, absolutely.
Right
I mean,
on,
it's
man.
it's really all I got.
I
It's
love your
just put out
transparency.
content. You know, it's really all musicians have right now is try to put out content and set up the tours for 2021 is really what's going on.
Right on, man. Right
Other
on.
than that, it's like you said, it is the waiting game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything's closed, the venues are closed. Fuck, man, so many crew people are hurting so bad right now.
I know.
I mean, crew people that literally, this is what they live on. This is all they have. If they're not on the road, they're not able to make money and support their families. So it's really tough.
The ripple effect has
It's
been
hard.
absolutely insane. Yeah, I know. And there's been a lot of artists that I know have gone out of their way to do like a lot of live video streaming type things,
Yeah, yeah,
and supporting their roadies, supporting the
yeah, and
techs.
a lot of bands trying to create revenue to be able to at least offer their crew people some kind of relief. Yeah.
You looking at doing any kind of live streaming, anything like that?
I've thought about it. I just don't know as a new artist, technically, how. I mean, I know I could put on an amazing live show with
Yeah.
what I have.
Right.
In my head, I already see how the lights would work and where we'd play each song and stuff like that. And, you know, I'd probably get into a lot of cool storytelling between songs to try to really draw the audience into the feeling. But how would I be able to really pull that off? Streaming, I don't know. It'd be a little complicated. I may, if this continues the way it does, I probably will be doing some streaming shows.
All right. Right on, right on. Well, we'll look forward to that.
But you know, but the rocker in me just wants a big PA and a loud PA, and then just blast everything.
Of course, of course. But at least we've got some official music videos that you haven't done yet that we can look forward to in the not too distant future. And
yeah.
Oh man, Cristian, it has been a blast talking to you, man. And congratulations on this debut album. You know, again, everybody, we're talking about Hollywood Y Sycamore, and it is sick. All right, it's really,
well, the fact that you dig it definitely gives me a little bit of, you know, faith in that. Hey, man, rockers dig this, and maybe it's okay.
It's a different side of you, but it is a side that you needed to show. You know, it's a side that I truly believe you needed to show. So for everybody that loved Cristian with Ill Nino, man, you are going to love his debut album. You truly are. And I think that you have got a very successful solo career ahead of you. And you're so young, man. We're like the same age. You got like, 30, 40 years to, continue.
Well, with acoustic music, yeah, I could probably go till about 70, 80 maybe.
You know, man, I just saw Gordon Lightfoot the other day. Gordon Lightfoot was out there jamming. So he was like 80 years old. Actually, that's not true. He's in his 70s though. And man, he was awesome, man. I love Gordon Lightfoot. But I mean, I can just see you as an old man, all your locks all grown out, your hair's all gray. Yeah, you'd have like the white mane, like the dude in The Walking Dead, I forget his name, but you'd be like that dude and just, strumming your guitar. And I have no doubt that your pipes, your vocal chops will still be well intact. But again, Cristian, thank you so much for your time on Rock Titan Live, man. It's been a blast.
Dude, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Absolute honor hanging with you like this, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, no, it's been fun. So, everybody, again, I am Scotty J. You are watching Rock Titan Live. We are here with the legendary Cristian Machado. Make sure you go check out his album, Hollywood Y Sycamore, coming out September 25th. It is freaking incredible. We'll have all the links for you right here. And again, please make sure you go out and subscribe on all our social media, rocktitan.tv, Rock Titan YouTube. And, I try to be as active as I can be on social media, even though I really loathe it. But, it's a necessary evil. So
it is. I agree with you on that too, man. We agree on a lot of things.
Right? Yeah, we're gonna have to catch up again, without a doubt. After this album comes out, we're gonna have to maybe touch base again, and we're gonna work really hard on getting Carlos Santana to work with you, because that would be insane.
And when I do a tour, we got to hang, man.
Oh, my God. Without a doubt, man. Yeah. Whether I have to come out to the West Coast.
I don't know when. Hopefully next year sometime.
Yeah, you come out to the East Coast. I come out to the West Coast. We meet somewhere in between. I'm about to be an empty nester. So it's all good.
When you come to LA, you got to let me know. I'll show you a couple good spots.
I absolutely, definitely will. I got to catch up with you offline. I got to catch up with you offline for sure. But again, everybody, I'm Scotty J with Rock Titan Live. We're out. There's so many